The Deere Agency specializes in helping you understand your coverage before you need it. We offer all lines of personal and commercial insurance, including auto, home, and life. Contact Don Deere at 210-507-2169 and visit us at 7529 North Loop 1604 in Live Oak, Texas, or farmersagent.com/ddeere.
Are you pregnant and alone? You have options. The Sanctuary of Hope offers expectant mothers ages 12 to 22 a place to live, medical care, counseling, continued education, and options to raise your baby in a loving environment or help you with adoption. We want to help provide you and your baby with a bright future. Call us or email us today and let's walk through this together. 210-499-1554 or sohcares.org. All inquiries are confidential.
You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again, and today we have two special guests right here on I Am Refocused Radio. We are going to be talking to Jesse and Krystal, and they're going to be talking about their amazing business, Just Dogs 34. But before we even get to their business, these are people of faith. They are in church. They are in ministry. They are doing their thing right here in San Antonio. So we're going to learn more about them today. I want to welcome Jesse and Krystal to the show and say, how are y'all today?
Hey. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So first and foremost, I'll start with Jesse. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And how did you and Krystal meet?
A little bit about me. I grew up in a super small town, probably population of about 2,000. My granddad started a church there, and it grew to about 10 churches. And so I grew up in that small, tight-knit community. One of the churches happened to be in San Antonio. My dad took over that church around 1999, 2000, somewhere in there. Around the time I graduated high school, moved here to go to UTSA. I ended up going to UTSA, graduating from there. But in the process of that, I met this amazing lady that I now get the privilege of calling my wife, at a singing event. Mm-hmm. I saw her up there singing, and I told my best friend, I told him, I was like, hey, who's that? I said, that tall, light-skinned lady looks good. And so I found a way to talk to her, and I guess that's history. Yeah, that's how we met.
That is history, man. And Krystal, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about you and give us some more information of how he picked you out at that event.
So I am a military child. My parents retired. My mom is retired Chief Master Sergeant. My dad retired Command Chief. I was born in Minot, North Dakota. Yes, there are people up there that look like me. And there was about three of us, me, my mom, my dad. And we got stationed down in Mississippi. My parents actually divorced when I was 9 years old, and we moved to San Antonio. It was my mom's last duty station. Mm-hmm. So I've been in San Antonio since 1997. At this point, I feel like I am a Texas girl. Mm-hmm. I'm here. I wasn't born here, but I'm here, baby. I met my husband. Like, I was legit 17 years old, and I always say that he was a cradle robber, and I call him my granddaddy because he is 6 years my senior currently. Mm-hmm. And we dated for about 4, almost 5 years, and we've been married for almost 12 years. In March, it'll be 12 years.
Congratulations.
So he scooped me up young, y'all. That's one of the things.
So both of y'all are, Jesse's senior pastor of Faith Community San Antonio, mm-hmm. and Krystal is pastor of Faith Community San Antonio. What inspired you to launch the church, Faith Community in San Antonio?
So, as I mentioned before, my granddad had roughly about 10 churches or so, and my dad was pastor, full-time pastor at the church here in San Antonio for about 20 years. He came to take over full-time in I want to say 1998. So he moved here full time. And so, he pastored there for about 20 years. And, I would say I always knew it was my calling to share, the gospel. I've seen the power of the gospel. So just didn't know if I was going to follow the same path, I guess, as my parents did, or my grandfather and my father. Mm-hmm. My dad, literally a month before he passed away, we came and we talked, and per that conversation, I'll have to admit, I told him, he said, "Hey, I want you to take over." And my response to him was, we'll work something out. That was literally my response to him. We'll work something out. Didn't expect him to be, leaving that soon, literally a month, before we had that conversation. He was gone, literally the next month. So, stepped into that space and we've sort of created it, the thing that God gave us, we've put our fingerprint, on it. And, so we've been going since then. Yeah.
You listen to I'm Refocused Radio. We're talking to Jesse and Krystal Hamilton. And right now we're diving deep into the Faith Community San Antonio Church. Tell us a little bit about the mission for the church. What does the church stand for, and what is it that you try to teach?
Number one is to know God and to trust God, period. Our motto is that we are good soil. And we have this thing called a new member orientation, or NMO. So we talk about this holy growth. And I always say it's WHOLLY versus HOLY because it's holy, its entirety. It is one of those things that we don't want to just affect your Sunday experience. Yeah. And then Monday through Saturday, you living in pure hell. But be able to affect all areas, every areas of your life and how you are going about it. We want to create good balance. It shouldn't be one of those things that we are super spiritual, but then we can't manage our life. We are in church 7 days a week, but we have no other connections. To be able to really have that holy growth and bring that balance back. I have a personal motto. It is not the church's motto. It is a Krystal motto of I am young enough to remember everything that I hated, disliked, don't want to be a part of in the church. And I'm old enough to change it.
Faith Community San Antonio. When did that launch? What year?
Official launch day was June 2019. Yeah, but I assumed the role of pastor November 2018. But we relaunched the church because it was Faith Tabernacle Community Church, and then we put our stamp on it of Faith Community San Antonio.
You guys were actually there. I Am Refocused was actually there the weekend that we launched because we had a big concert. We had Worshipers United that was there with Pamela Ratliff out of Austin, Texas. We had an amazing symposium with you all talking about radio and how to get into the industry and things you have to do. And then we had our service. It was a really cool weekend.
It's a small world, man. It's a small world. In September 2019, y'all both decided that you wanted to do a business.
Yeah.
So you started Just Dogs 34.
Yeah.
Let's tell the audience a little bit about that and what was the intent after you launched it.
I would say we've been entrepreneurs for a little while. So Just Dogs wasn't our first business, that we've done. So we've done multiple businesses prior to Just Dogs. Just Dogs sort of happened as a part of my original 9-to-5 job. So I was a director of environmental health. So that put me in front of a lot of food businesses, And so during that time, I ran across a retired Air Force guy that had built his own little hot dog cart. And so him and I started talking about this hot dog cart. And he told me how business was going for him with the hot dog cart. And I was like, man, that's a really cool concept. I would have never thought, about hot dogs in that way. And so, 1 year passed, sort of didn't think much about it. Another year passed, saw him again. And then the third year came and he was like, man, I'm working too much. And my wife is telling me that I need to take more vacations and this and that. So at that time I said, hey, my wife and I were looking for an additional way to serve more people. And so I said, hey, if you ever want to sell the entire business, then I'm down for it. And so one day he calls me, which strangely enough, we're talking about faith and all that. I was actually in my space of meditation. And during that time, I heard the voice of God speaking to me during that time and said, it's time to go ahead and get started with the hot dog business. And at that time I was like, we're not ready, because we had talked, and him and I had talked and said, hey, 6 months later, this and that. And it was literally within that week. And the crazy thing is, after I came out of my time of meditation, I think a day later, he called me and says, hey, I need to sell it right now. I'm about to have this major surgery and I'm ready to sell right now. And I was like, whoa, like I wasn't ready for that. And, but during that time, so I was ready to pull the trigger, because I came out and I talked with Krystal. I was like, hey, I think we need to really start preparing for this hot dog business. And so as soon as he called, we were ready to pull the trigger. So we went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. We rebranded it. Initially it was under his name. So we rebranded it and called it Just Dogs 34, where we do gourmet hot dogs. His was more of, a simple concept of hot dogs, and we rebranded it with some crazy names that tell stories about us, and because we've always been foodies. We always love to cook. We always love to serve people. We always, Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of that have always been big. We always invite people over to our house. We're always cooking for them and our friends and family. So it's almost like an extension of who we are already,
I went to your Facebook page, and it's a food truck. So you pretty much mobile. You can travel and basically be on the go. And that is a very big trend in San Antonio. There's a ton of great food trucks out there where they're out there engaging with the community. It's almost like a barbershop on wheels. Instead of getting your hair cut, you're just, you're having food to eat and communicating with people. Touch on with the audience. How has that experience been being, because number one, you're still in ministry, and some people might say you're crazy to have a business for doing just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. Because most people are like, man, how you sleep? But what has been, how has the process been like engaging with the community?
I'm a super social person. So this is right up my alley. Literally, I get to talk to strangers and tell them that I have really good food that they all want to eat. Because most people ask, well, what do you eat or what's good? And I'm like, oh, you need this baked smoked mac and cheese in your life. And I told a person yesterday, I said, you know how your grandma makes the best mac and cheese? They said, yeah. I said, now take that and put that whole pan in the smoker. And they said, oh, that's what I want. Thank you. So it allows, for me, it allows that expression. Yeah. I've had a few different careers in life. And at one point I was a teacher at an alternative school. So I dealt with children who pretty much society had thrown them away. And I was able to talk to them in a different way. So I feel like this is that same vein to where you're talking to humans. How you doing? How's your day going? The number one thing that we get as a response is, you all feel so personable to where we have other people that work with us. Number one is Uncle, and customers will literally come back and say, man, we love Uncle. Uncle asked me about how my child was doing from 2 weeks ago. They recognize me. They remember me. And the fact that it's so much more than the food. We have people who have come to church. We have people who have joined our ministry simply because they met us outside with these hot dogs. And we're not the people that lead with, hey, praise the Lord, get a hot dog. And by the way, God is good. We're not them people. We just, how you doing? We talk to you. And then when they ask us, what else do you do? We're like, oh yeah, we have a church over there at 225. Come see us. Cool. If you do, you do. And they have come because of that. So that is something that we always want to lead with. The food is amazing. Yes. The customer service is above. Whatever the bar is, our strive for excellence is above that.
And what are people's reaction when they find out that you're the pastors? You're not just someone volunteering or someone in some kind of ministry at the church. Y'all are literally...
Most of them stop cussing right there.
It's like, oh man, okay, I got...
Sorry. I'm sorry. Yep. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yep.
But then the reaction is, wow, I didn't know pastors like this. So like a direct story. So we did a collaboration with another food truck, super cool food truck called Smacks Chicken. Dude has amazing chicken. So we did a collaboration with him and his photographer that came out. So we had two photographers. We had our photographer, Krystal Ingalls from
Lone Star
Pineapple. And then we had Keenan's guy that came out. And so we're probably 40 minutes into it, and we're just talking, having a great conversation and interacting with him, and then finds out that we're pastors. And he was like, wow, I didn't know pastors even had these types of conversations. Wow. I didn't know that pastors were normal human beings. Right. Like, that's what his reaction was, that, wow, like, I've only seen pastors like at this
super spiritual
almost you
situation.
Can't approach them.
This spatial difference between us, you know, this vast valley where we can't even have a normal human interaction, you know. And so I think that's been the biggest response from people. And then we have some people that literally have started watching church. I think about one of our most loyal, I would say our most loyal customer, because when we first met him, like, he bought he opened a tab. Yeah, he opened a tab of hot dogs and was just buying hot dogs for everybody. He was like,
that's awesome.
This is so amazing. So he was like, I don't even believe in God. And we've seen him literally start following the church page.
The other things that we do.
Yeah, and following the other things, like, man, like, maybe I need to rethink this God thing, you know? And so I would say that's sort of been many reactions from people, from us being pastors. Yeah,
that's very interesting, because you're doing ministry on both sides. You're feeding people who are hungry. Yeah, and you're also not just feeding them food; you're feeding them God Himself. Yeah, and that's very powerful, because once again, you listen to I'm Refocused Radio, talking to Jesse and Krystal Hamilton right now, talking about Just Dogs 34. But what's so interesting is the connection between your ministry in the food service. Yeah. Because you're using both to change people's lives. Yeah. Because you don't know who's going through whatever they're going through, especially in this time of COVID and whatnot. Everyone's uptight. Everyone's emotionally, taxed. Facts. And it's a situation where you have an opportunity. Yeah. And you both you're having that amazing perspective of, hey, I'm going to give you this food, but I'm also going to give you some word. What is something that you have seen? Because you mentioned people end up coming to your church through this food business. What's some of the things that you have noticed inside your church?
Our ministry truly is a diverse ministry. It is racially diverse. It is, what's the word? I don't say
socioeconomic diverse.
The ages vary. Like, it really is. It's my first time showing up and seeing a real diverse ministry, because I grew up where they said this is diversity, but 95% was one way, and you might have a sprinkle of 5 other %. I looked at our church and I said, yo, this looks like us. Our church looks like who we are. Like the way our friend groups were, we were the people in school that I'm friends with everybody, the jocks, the golf, the cheerleaders, the this, the that. Like, I'm cool with everybody. And I believe that's a direct reflection for our food. Our food isn't for one type of person. Well, it is. If you like food, then we're here.
I like that. That's good.
But that's who we are. So I really feel like it's not putting on airs. It's not trying to be something that we're not. You're really seeing our heart in everything that we do. Because what you do in one thing, you do in all things. So if I'm a nice person, I'm a nice person in all things. Like, what you do in it, it's going to be the same. And so I think that's people are seeing. They're seeing a genuineness of, I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to take you. I'm not trying to swindle you. We're not trying to do any of these things. I just either want to feed you this real good food, or if you want to come to this service, I'm going to feed you this real good food. And that's just the perspective, at least on my end.
I would say the same thing. That's what we've seen. Funny thing is, within our congregation, we've been seeing a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm not sure if that's a societal thing or a reflection of what's happening at Faith Community San Antonio. So I've been seeing a lot of entrepreneurs, that are a lot of entrepreneurship that's starting to happen within Faith Community San Antonio, which is now causing us to pivot to make direct groups and ministries that focus on entrepreneurship. So we're in talks now of creating a entrepreneurship collective, or business collective, literally to help people through those first stages of starting business, those first stages of launching their business, because launching a business is about faith. Like,
Period.
Even for those people that say, hey, I don't believe in God or I don't believe in any of that. My analogy is always like a farmer, right?
Yeah.
So a farmer takes seeds and he takes those seeds and he goes and puts them in the ground. That's faith. Like, you have to have faith in all of the elements and all of you got to have faith in the soil. You got to have faith that it's going to rain. You got to have faith that your irrigation equipment's going to work. You have to have, like, it's a bunch of faith, even though it doesn't look like faith. Hey, I'm not going to a church and praying and giving an offering, but you are, you're offering something, you're offering that seed to the ground and hoping that it grows. To me, that's entrepreneurship. So you have a seed, whatever your seed is, where, in our case it's food, for this business, and someone else might be whatever their service, their seed, their talent, their gift is. They go and put that in the ground, hoping that it produces some good fruit, and so that's what we've been seeing at Faith Community San Antonio is, people saying, hey, I have a talent, I have a gift, and I want to see, if I plant it in the ground, will it grow?
And the comfortability to do so.
Yeah.
So many of us are just taught, like, this is the way to success. This is the one path to it. So to be able to see other people, and especially, we're younger people. So it gives you that leg up. Like, if they could do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
If I see how hard they work, I could work just as hard. Like, I can do it too.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said we don't sleep. Nope.
But I'll say this, and you asked sort of like, how do we do it? We have an amazing support system.
Facts.
Like, our family, because
Facts.
Like, after my dad passed away, my mom moved into our house. We had already purchased a house together with her mom. So we already had her mom, and right now we're homeschooling our son. And so her mom is the PE teacher. So she gets the guy up early in the morning, takes him for jogs. And then my mom teaches, some days. And then we have a tutor that comes in and teaches other days. And then one of us splits off and we'll teach him another day.
Mainly me.
Mainly her, and then, so we do have several things happening. And then my uncle that mostly, he's there, boots on the ground, cooking most of the food most of the time. So and then we have an amazing support staff that helps, and so we couldn't do this without support, and I think that's important for us, for our entrepreneur story, is that it takes other people. Like, you can't do this thing alone. Like, that's what I found out, because I've tried other things where, hey, I'm gonna go at it alone, and it hasn't worked out as successful as when I bring in other people, whether they're friends, family, whatever. Like, that support is necessary.
And once again, you listen to I'm Refocused Radio, talking to Jesse and Krystal Hamilton, and their amazing story from the ministry with Faith Community SA, and also their business. If you're hungry right now, I'm going to tell you how you can find them in a minute. But Just Dogs 34 was amazing about what you just talked about. The only thing that just kept hammering my head is service, because you're doing service in both fields, whether it's the church or if it's, the food truck. You're serving people. And what you illustrated about people coming together to help pitch in at the home, when it's homeschooling your child or whatever, is service to one another. And a lot of times entrepreneurship gets a dark cloud when it comes to church and ministry. But there is a specific way of doing things in life. We are human beings. We all have to eat. And we all have to work. So I'm going to just let that drop mic happen for a little bit, because I love how you illustrate the whole thing, because there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong having an entrepreneurship mind, because entrepreneurship is serving people, fixing problems. Because when you fix problems in your community, like you just mentioned, there's people who say, hey, if they can do it, I can be inspired to do it myself. Because especially in times like this, when we're living through COVID, there's a lot of people who are being forced to become entrepreneurs. Because when things get tough, it's either you fold or you keep moving forward. So in the moments we have left, what would you tell to someone what they should be doing as far as not giving up. Because we're in a time where people are on the verge of just folding and saying, you know what, this is just not for me. What you tell that person now?
Don't quit, find a group of people that helps to push you, like that has been one of the biggest things. And I'm so grateful that I have an amazing wife. So days that I'm down, she could pick me up, and hopefully it's vice versa. I think it is. But yeah, find someone, even if you're like, hey, I'm by myself, like find some people. I would say we're available if you just got to have somebody. So yeah.
Well, once again, you listen to Army Focus Radio, talking to Krystal and Jesse Hamilton. We talk about their Just Dogs 34 and also their church, Faith Community SA. People listening right now, they want to know more about your church. How can they find you?
We're on Facebook and Instagram at Faith Community San Antonio. You can also go to our website, which is www.faithcommunitysanantonio.com. We live stream for our Wednesday night Spark at 6:30, and we live stream our Sunday Experience at 3:30.
And those who are hungry now and they want to grab a bite, eat some hot dogs, how can they get in touch with your food truck?
We are Just Dogs 34 at Instagram and on Facebook, as well as our website, which is www.justdogs34.com. And you can find us. I post our schedules every Monday. And gratefully, we have done some progression and we have grown quite a bit. So we started with one cart. We now have a trailer, and we have another thing that I call a side piece. It's like a tent to table setup. So we can be in 3 locations. So please check out our schedule every Monday, and I'll put it on there because we are at multiple locations pretty much every day. Tuesday through Saturday is our run days.
But once again, we would like to thank Jesse and Krystal Hamilton for being on Omni Focus Radio today. And like we say on every single show, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.
Hi, San Antonio. Need a barber? Visit our good friend Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockefeller's Barbershop in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road, and book your appointment today by calling 210-782-5188.